Hello, and welcome back to HunterTuned. Today we're out at the shop working on the Mustang again, trying to go even faster than the last pass that we made on the car, which was a 970. If you guys haven't checked out the last two videos, be sure to go check those out. I know the simple stage bump box video wasn't doing too well. I think because of the thumbnail I used, it was just like a basic picture, so I might not do that anymore. But trying to figure out the whole YouTube thing and trying to get some more subscribers and views and stuff, and it's definitely planned to be, or it's proven to be quite tricky. We've done quite a bit of videos on the channel, and you know, the views are slowly increasing and the subscribers are slowly increasing, but it's tough sometimes. So anyways, we're going to work on the Mustang today and show you kind of what we did the last yesterday when we got home from the track. We actually piped the turbo directly into the intake without the intercooler on the car because, like I said in the last video, the car was just not mile an houring out the back door like it should have. And I guess from the eighth to the quarter, it is picking up 30 mile per hour, which sounds on par, but it just doesn't seem to eighth mile an hour any better. No matter what I do to the tune-up, it always seems to go that 110 to 115 mark, and I can't get the car to go like 120 in the eighth or faster than that. And that's what we're trying to do, because every time I add more boost to the car, it doesn't really like it. It doesn't really pick up, and we're going to try to figure out what the hell's holding this thing back. So, like I said, we got the intercooler off of the car last night, and this is the intercooler that we've been running. It's just a $60 EM USA intercooler, 2.5 inch core, like super small deal. Never really had any high intake temperatures or anything like that, but I was thinking maybe the CFM just couldn't flow through the intercooler. So like I said, we took it off and it yielded no difference in the tune-up because currently the car has a very flat fuel curve, flat VE. The volumetric efficiency fuel table is flat. Like from 5 to 7,000, it has the same amount of fuel in it from 5 to 7 grand, and usually that is an indicator of the motor's just not getting airflow like it should. The more air you can put into the engine, the more fuel it asks for. Same with like torque. The more torque and horsepower you make, the more fuel that the car is going to ask for. So even without the dyno, we can kind of tell already, like, hey, the fuel curve is flat, and with the flat fuel curve, it's getting gradually richer as it increases in RPM, which, like I said, is another indicator of an airflow restriction somewhere in the motor.
It should be going the other way.
It should be increasing. Yeah, it should. If the fuel is flat, it should be leaning out as the RPM increases, which it's not doing. So you guys got to remember, when you're tuning stuff, you got to remember the basics. You got to dumb it down, and I have a very big problem with overcomplicating a lot of stuff, and especially on my own cars, I just overcomplicate a lot of things. Like, you know, you overthink stuff and you shoot right past the simple stuff. So we're going to go to simple basics today, and you got to remember that an engine is just an air pump. You need to get the air in and you need to get the air out. We did make an improvement in the turbo spooling by adding the 4-inch downpipe off of the turbo. Now, if you guys know, and we also eliminated the intercooler and piping here from being a restriction, because this is just wide open right into the motor, 3-inch piping, and it should be good to go there. But if you guys have been following for a while, you know that my exhaust manifolds that go off of the cylinder heads and go down to the turbo, wait till you guys see this. I've been running this janky Hotside for a while, and we went pretty damn fast with this bullshit. But I think at a certain point, a certain boost level, a certain horsepower level, this thing is nosing over, not making any more power, and it's just making back pressure. And when you make a bunch of back pressure, you create a lot of cylinder pressure, a lot of cylinder temperature, and you get blow-by. And we got some blow-by on a few of the passes. We had some yellow mustard coming out of the valve covers, and the motor shouldn't be hurt at all, because, like, you know, just starting it up and everything like that, we don't have any blow-by coming out of the oil cap or anything like that, so I think we're good. But like I said, on the passes when it's struggling, creating all that exhaust back pressure, at least this is my theory, guys, I'm just talking here, but under those, you know, high pressure, exhaust pressure, you know, everything like that, it's creating more blow-by in the engine. So we got to free up the exhaust a little bit more and see if we can't get this thing to lighten up a little bit. So yeah, we're gonna get right to it. I'm gonna start by taking off some of the turbo parts here. We're gonna take off the intercooler pipe that's still hooked up. and we're going to take the turbo off of the car, and then we're going to take the exhaust manifolds off, and I'll show you what it all looks like.
Do some R&D.
Yeah, we're going to do some R&D and figure out what we can do to make this setup work. Alrighty guys, so about 2 minutes later and the turbo's off. That's what's nice about this car is it's fairly easy to work on, and everything is V-band. So like the turbo inlet here is a V-band. We have a 3-inch V-band coming in. It's not T4 or T6 flange like most turbos. VS Racing offers V-band entry. So that's pretty cool. Everything on the turbo is V-band too. So like downpipe is a V-band, the turbine housing is a V-band, the compressor housing is a V-band, and the outlet is a V-band. So yeah, pretty easy to rip this thing apart. We got the oil lines off, and I wanted to show you guys what the Hotside currently looks like, and the problems that we are having with the Hotside, and what we're going to try to do to fix it, or at least make it a little bit better. So currently, off of the driver's side manifold, we have to have a pretty sharp bend coming down the car, because the alternator is a low mount alternator. This kit's from LS Simple. It mounts the alternator down low so that it can have hood clearance. So off of here is a little bit tricky to get the pipes to fit, and we had to have some pretty crazy bends going on to get it to that point. And the other side is a fairly straight shot. It just comes straight off of the motor there, goes straight down, and straight into the where the is attached to the turbo. So I'm going to get the rest of this unhooked off of the car, and then we will show you a better look at the Hotside, and a better look at what we think is going on, and what might help the situation out a little bit.
I had a question for the viewers.
Yeah.
Does it piss you off as much as it pisses me off when you go to Taco Bell and you ask for mild sauce, and then you get your bag and there's no sauce in the whole bag?
Yeah.
First world problems,
I
I guess.
Them when you order, you say, "What do you want?" And you say mild sauce, and then you get to the window and say, "Is there mild sauce in the bag?" And they go, "Yeah," and then you get the bag and there's no mild sauce in it.
I guess that's why they get paid minimum wage, right? Alrighty guys, so we got the Hotside removed off of the car, and yeah, as you guys can see, no more manifolds on. We got the spark plug wires off, we took all the bolts out of the manifolds, and now we are left with some work to do.
Yeah, we're like 3/4 away from pulling them over.
Yeah, sort of. So anyways guys, this is my Hotside that I've been running on the car now for the last year. We just busted off a 970 pass with the car with this bullshit on it. So we're gonna see if we can free up some exhaust flow today. And we're gonna start with the passenger side and show you some possible restriction areas. So I believe that, you wanna grab that caliper, wherever it is? Let me just tell you guys that I built this thing right when I first got my welder. I was just excited to stick metal together.
No, not this one. That was V1.
This is still like, well, most of it is from the first time.
Yeah.
We did redo the setup once before, but it, you know, we'll show you here in a second what we all did. But this, for the most part, is 2.5 inch OD pipe. So this is around 2 1/4 inch pipe, and it's necked down to about 2 inch inner diameter on some spots. So, like I said, this is not pretty. This is like just real world stuff that I put together a while ago, and it's still working. So, anyways, this part of the manifold definitely needs to be redone. We got some bolts here that cover the weld up. We got some. This was just a ginormous fucking gap right here, and we put a bolt to fill it in. We've just gobbered a bunch of weld here, and then we had another spot here that had a big hole in it, so we made some plate and covered it up. Yeah, so this is what the one manifold is looking like. Pretty capped off right here. As you guys can see, all the flow from these 3 runners right here is hitting this plate, like quite literally hitting this plate. Garbage. Completely garbage. This runner flows beautifully. right here. That runner goes right down into the pipe how it should, but these ones are a little bit choked up. So anyways, this side actually isn't that bad, which is saying a lot. We also have another pipe here that was offset. It wasn't butted up straight, and it's offset a little bit, so we have some exhaust reversion going on here, I'm sure, because there's pipe that's sticking into the pipe that's coming off of here. This is like over that way, so that's not good. And then we got another big old gap right there that I had to fill in. Neck down pretty hard, probably blocking a bunch of flow. You guys can see that. You know what we should do is we should blow vape in this thing and see what runner it comes out of. So it started coming out of the first one and second one there, but the other three were a little bit, well, I don't know. We're just gonna try to revise this fucking thing a little bit. Now let's look at the other side. So this is the other end of the turbo manifold here. So this is kind of the same scenario. It comes up to this part right here and does an extremely sharp 90. Like there's no, like it's pretty much just like a block right here, blocking it off right as it comes off of here. And it does another bend and then another bend and then a straight. And this setup just isn't that efficient either. So we're probably gonna end up lobbing this manifold off a little bit here and just going with a straight piece off of it. You know, just cutting this so it flows good with like a 3-inch piece of pipe or a 2.5-inch piece of pipe and have it flow directly down. That way we can clear the alternator, because right here is where my alternator sits. So we have to have the pipe come over this way as far as we can in order to clear the alternator. And then this manifold comes down and does a 180 with two 90-degree 3-inch bends. I don't think this is necessarily a huge restriction because it is 3-inch pipe right here. But this is where the two sides of the motor merge together. This is a 3-inch 90 and then another 90, and then I merged the other pipe into the 3-inch 90 on this side. And then this is all 3-inch pipe that goes out to the turbo. Not mandrel bent right there either, so that could be a little bit of a choker. It's probably not that big of a deal on this end, but yeah, so like I said, because this is all 3-inch pipe, the bends aren't as crucial on this section, I don't believe, and I think this section is honestly pretty decent still. So yeah, anyways, there's my janky ass Hotside. If you guys haven't seen it already, or if you haven't been following the channel for a long time, I've went over this Hotside a couple times. But we're gonna go over it again today, see what we can figure out, see if we can get it to flow a little better. And yeah, so we're gonna run to the store, get some exhaust piping, and try to come up with something. Alrighty guys, so we got quite a bit of progress done on the Hotside already. We went and got a new angle grinder from 9's, and I would highly recommend this thing. It's a Master Force 4.5-inch angle grinder. It was like 35 or 40 bucks. And it works great. We just had the tool shop one, and I think I went through like 2 of those things already, and then I finally just bucked up and bought a nicer one. But anyways, we got some of the old piping cut off, and as you guys can see, like this thing sucked. Look at this. Look at the amount of blockage on this pipe alone.
And that was coming off the manifold.
So this is coming off of the manifold, and as you can see, like it's completely blocking the 3 runners that hit this one, and then the single runner had good flow, but like it was just a pile of shit, man. Like this sucks. It went 970 like this. So this is pretty shitty, and I don't know if you guys can see down in the pipe here. Let me try to hold this quick. It's just junk. There's like weld hanging out. Pipes that were just not butted up properly, and this is where my crossover was, where we fed both pipes into one, and we're down to like 1 3/4 pipe there. Another blockage right here, and this is off one of the other manifolds. Another blockage there. Let's see here. This one wasn't too bad. Overall, just a lot of choked up pipe and hacked together Hotside. I learned from sloppy mechanics, obviously, and I kind of took it a little aggressively on building this Hotside. And let me just tell you guys, we went high 9's, 970, with just complete bullshit exhaust. And
I'm not telling you to do it, but it works.
Yeah, we're not telling you to do it at all, but it works. Matt Happel actually told me, he said around 5 to maybe 600 horsepower, the piece of junk hot sides that he kind of tells everybody like just hack together, they don't work so well when you're trying to, you know, push more than like 600 horsepower. And that's kind of this thing that this thing seems to be doing, because right at 140 mile an hour, the trap speed calculator is telling me I'm 550, 600 horse. So, you know, and we're trying to push 800 horsepower to go 8s. It's definitely going to be choked up through this exhaust. So I bet you we pick up some spool time, we pick up horsepower, we pick up everywhere, I bet you. And yeah, so anyways, we put this manifold on. I'll actually take this manifold off quick and show you guys what we got going on this side. We have wide open flow now. Like, there's no restrictions coming off the manifold like there was before. Like I said, onto the manifold was a big deal. It was neck down and getting exhaust reversion. And when I say exhaust reversion, I mean like when the exhaust is going to hit a wall and then bounce back and then kind of like turbulent, get just kind of turbulent inside the exhaust. Like, it'll have kind of not straight flow kind of thing. That's why mandrel bent pipe is nice, because the wrinkles in the pipe too on like a non-mandrel bent pipe will cause the exhaust to kind of get scattered about inside the pipe and not have direct flow. So we are using this might surprise you, we are using 3-inch piping off of the manifolds. Both sides is going to have 3-inch piping feeding the 3-inch inlet on the turbo. So that might be a little bit big, and it might hurt spool time a little bit, because guys are saying smaller piping, like a 2 1/4 or a 2.5 inch pipe off of the headers to the turbo, is actually going to cause a little bit more back pressure, which will get more exhaust kind of punch going into the turbo. But I'm not buying it right now, because I just don't think I want to do that. I want to have horsepower capability, and if the 3-inch piping to the turbo doesn't do it, then we're going to have to look elsewhere. But I'm pretty sure that this is going to pick up a lot of power. Like I was saying, the guys usually use 2 1/4 or 2.5 on the crossovers to the turbo, or the hot side piping is usually 2 1/4 or 2.5. But we're going to go with 3-inch just to eliminate it from being a flow restriction for horsepower. The bigger pipe is not going to affect how much horsepower the car makes. It's just going to affect how much kind of torque and grunt the car makes, and how fast the turbo can spool up. But like I said, we're gonna kind of figure out what we're doing here. This is one of the manifolds that we got fixed up already. I welded a 3-inch mandrel bend onto this manifold, and this is going to have a straight, complete shot off of the turbo, or off of the engine here, 3-inch piping, and it's gonna go into the U here, which it sucks, but it's the only thing we can do, guys, with the way the alternator is and where the turbo placement is on the car. Unless we wanted to change the turbo placement all around and make a new downpipe, and then I'd have to figure out what I'm going to do with the hole in my fender. We want to keep the turbo placement kind of where it is. So this is the U that's going to have to go onto the existing piece here. So this is going to come off of that one manifold that I was just showing you guys, wherever the hell I put it. So pretty much this is going to have to go onto this manifold here, and it's going to have to do a little bit of a U. But this is 3-inch piping, so if it does have to do some weird stuff at some point, at least it's large diameter pipe, and you know, shouldn't be too much of an issue if it has to make a U. And these are both 3-inch mandrel bends here, and they're wide open. We actually shined lighting in here, and you can't even tell where the bend is. Michael actually said that this was the best joint on the car. So anyways, we're gonna have to like cut open another section on here so we can feed another 3-inch pipe off of the other side of the motor into this, and then yeah, we should be all good to go. But we got a little bit more work to do on this thing, and yeah, like I said, should be a lot better now. Hopefully we pick up some ET. Alrighty guys, so we did get some of the hot side finished up tonight. We had to disassemble the turbo a little bit to kind of clock everything where we wanted. It's extremely tight with the alternator down there. We did manage. It's not 100% perfect like we wanted, but I think it'll be okay, and I still think it'll be a huge improvement on what the car had before. So like I said, the alternator being down there is really hindering us with different ways to run the hot side piping, and that's what really sucks. with this setup. So this is going to be the new merge and everything like that. We did a 3-inch merge with a 3-inch 90-degree mandrel bend. Every bend on this setup now is all mandrel. It's not anything like you know, cut and welded together kind of thing. It is all mandrel bent pipe, and it should be all good to go. Like these bends right here were all kind of, you know, they might have been mandrel, but I cut them at a 45 and just kind of butted them up kind of thing. But this should flow a shitload better. Like I said, we have 3-inch right off of the manifolds, wide open, no you know, uneven gaps and stuff like that. That's what we had problems with before, is, you know, we just kind of stuck it on there. If it had a gap, it had a gap, and we welded it. But now, especially off of the manifold side of things, we have everything perfect. Comes down 90s into a merge that we built. This is kind of the same style merge that I was running on the old setup. It kind of does a U, and it's just, it is what it is. It's kind of the only thing we can do with the space that we have and the turbo placement that we need. We need to run the turbo there because, like I said, I want to keep it there. Downpipe, everything is already set up for it. So that's what we're trying to make work. So it's been tricky. We've been at this for a bunch all day today. We've been messing with it. And we finally have something figured out. So, like I said, this is the merge. It has a 3-inch 90-degree mandrel bend that we hole sawed another 3-inch hole into. So this one is mandrel bent into the rest of the, going up to the turbo here, and then this is feeding from the other side, which is another 3-inch pipe. And it's all wide open flow. You can see straight through that thing, and it should be all way better. The welds are not pretty because we have, it's just a complicated little setup. All the other welds that all butted up, like, you know, I know how to weld pretty well, but you know, when you're trying to make something crazy happen, you got to get creative, and it doesn't look the greatest. But I feel like it will flow 10 times better than it did. So yeah, we're gonna finish this up tomorrow, and then hopefully get some stuff done, some other stuff done on the car. We would like to go race again on Friday, so we're trying to get a lot of this stuff ironed out so we can get the car back out again. So anyways, yeah, that's going to be it. Hopefully you guys liked my old Hotside and some of the ideas that we're coming up with for the new one. So the new Hotside on this side is awesome. This side is huge, wide open flow. Yeah, hopefully it helps. And yeah, so anyways, thanks to Michael and Christian for coming out today and helping. And we're going to pick back up tomorrow and finish this thing up. But thanks for watching the video, guys. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you later. Have a great night and a better tomorrow.